They came from faraway stars, across dark space and burning suns. Many aliens had tried to meet humans, but none were allowed, not without passing the test. No one knew exactly what it was. Some said it could read minds. Others believed it could break your soul. But one thing was clear. If you failed, you never came back the same now. A new alien stood at the gate of Earth. His name was Zorak, a warrior from the planet Varnos. He had fought in wars, led armies, and survived things most wouldn't believe. But now he was scared, not of death, but of failing this test. He looked up at the cold metal building floating in space. The Galactic Council had built it just for this purpose. Behind those walls, something waited, something ancient. A voice came through the air. Step. Zorak nodded, his red skin glowing under the dim lights. Yes, then prove you are worthy. Zorak took a breath and walked in. The door shut behind him. He was inside now, alone, or so he thought, in the shadows. Something watched, not with eyes, but with thought. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It only waited. Zorak. Felt it. A chill passed through his body. He turned around slowly. Nothing was there. Inside the dark chamber, Zorak stood still. His heart pounded like war drums on his home planet. The screen blinked again. Then, suddenly, light filled the room. Zorak blinked. He was no longer in the test chamber. He was on a battlefield. Smoke rose from broken ships. Alien bodies lay on the ground. Screams echoed in the air. Zorak looked around. He recognized this place. It was the War of Varnos, the battle that nearly destroyed his people. But how? A voice spoke behind him. What do you see? Zorak turned fast. There was no one there, just a shadow moving in the smoke. I see. Zorak said slowly. I see pain. The voice asked again, louder now. Did your people start this? Zorak's jaw tightened. He remembered the truth. Humans had not started this war. His people had attacked first. They thought humans were weak, but they were wrong. Yes, Zorak whispered. We started it. The scene changed. Now he saw a human child. She ran through fire and ash, pulling an alien soldier by the hand. The soldier was hurt. The child didn't care. She saved him. Zorak watched, stunned. Why did she help him? He asked. The voice answered, because that is what humans do. Zorak felt something strange inside. Not fear, not anger, but shame. Then the lights dimmed again. The battlefield vanished. He was back in the chamber, and the voice said, You passed the first level. But this was only the beginning. Zorak swallowed hard. If this was just the start, what came next? Zorak stood still, breathing heavily. The chamber was silent again, but his mind was full of questions. Why had he seen that memory? Why show him a human child saving an alien? He looked around. The walls were smooth and cold. No doors, no windows. Just a single light above him. Then the voice spoke again. Soft, calm, but firm. Do you understand what you saw? Zorak nodded slowly. Yes, the voice asked. What did you feel? Zorak paused. He wasn't sure how to answer. He had seen war before. He had fought in wars. A long silence followed. Then the screen lit up again. New images appeared. Memories not his own. A boy crying over a lost pet. A woman giving food to a stranger. You are seeing through their eyes, feeling through their hearts. Zorak's hands shook. He could feel their pain, their joy, their fear. Suddenly, he fell to his knees. It was too much, he whispered. Why am I feeling this? The voice answered, because to meet a human, you must first understand them. Zorak looked up. His red eyes were filled with something new. Not anger, not pride, but understanding. Then the voice asked, Would you die for someone like her? Zorak didn't answer right away. He thought about the little girl who saved the soldier, and finally he said, I would. Another alien stood before the Galactic Council. His name was Krillax, a proud warrior of the Zarn Empire. His people had never lost a battle. They believed in strength, in power, in conquest. He had come to Earth not to learn, but to prove his kind was better than humans. The voice echoed around him, stepped forward. Krillax of Zarn, you wish to meet a human. The door opened. He walked inside without fear. Minutes later, the screen lit up. Test started. At first, Krelax saw nothing. Then came the sound of screams. Fire. War. He found himself standing on a battlefield again, but this time, he was not watching. He was part of it. A weapon lay in his hand. A human soldier stood across from him. Krelax didn't hesitate. Yes, the world changed. Now he was the human soldier. And he felt what the soldier felt. Fear, hope, love for family, and the pain of loss. He dropped the weapon. I can't, he whispered. The voice said coldly, "You have failed." Back in the real chamber, Krelax fell to his knees. Outside, another said, "We were right to be afraid." Then, one added quietly, "If we don't change, we will lose everything." Heart pounding, he had just watched Krelax fail the test. He saw it all, the battlefield, the fear, the final choice, and suddenly, two glowing buttons appeared before him, one red, one blue. A screen lit up with a message. Press red, save one human. Life, press blue, erase all humans from existence. Zorak's eyes widened. This was not a battle, not a puzzle, not a trick. This was a decision that would change everything behind him. He heard voices, his own people, calling to him through the walls. Press blue, Zorak. They are weak. They will destroy us. But then came another voice, soft, kind. It was the little girl from earlier. Zorak closed his eyes. His people wanted war, but he had seen the truth. Humans were not perfect, but they were brave, kind, hopeful. He opened his eyes and he reached out. His clawed hand hovered over the buttons. 1 second, 2. Then he pressed a button. The machine beeped. A single word flashed on the screen. Test complete. The lights dimmed. Stepped back. Behind him, the voice said, "You have chosen, and your people may never forgive you." Zorak looked down at his hands. "They won't," he whispered. "But maybe, one day, they will understand." The chamber door opened. Zorak stepped out, blinking in the sudden light. His body felt different, not hurt, but changed. He couldn't explain it. Behind him, the test machine powered down. The voice paused. It was about change. Zorak's heart beat faster. "What do you mean?" he asked. The screen lit up again. Words appeared. "The human worthy test does not measure worthiness. It creates it." Zorak read the words again and again. His people believed they had to prove they were good enough to meet humans, but now had changed him, rewired his thoughts, made him feel human pain like it was his own. Suddenly, everything made sense. Krelax failed because he refused to change. Zorak passed because he did. Then came another message on the screen. "You are no longer who you were. You are something." New Zorak looked at his hands again. Was he still just an alien from Varnos? Or was he something else now? A friend, a protector, a traitor? The voice said, "One last thing. You may return home, but your people may not recognize you." Zorak took a deep breath. "I know," he whispered. And with that, he walked forward, not as who he was, but as who he had become. They were the future. Zorak returned home. The sky of Varnos was red as always, filled with smoke and the sound of war drums. His people did not know peace, they knew power. As he stepped off the ship, warriors greeted him. "Welcome back, Zorak," one shouted. "Did you pass the test?" Zorak looked at them, his people, but felt like a stranger. He nodded slowly. "Yes, I passed." Cheers rose, but then came the next question. "What did you learn?" asked an elder. Zorak took a breath. He could lie. He could say humans were weak, dangerous. But he didn't. Instead, he said, "They are not what we think. They feel pain, love, hope, and they give it, even to us." Silence fell. One warrior stepped forward. "You speak like a fool. Humans are nothing." Zorak shook his head. "They are not weak. They are different. And if we do not change, we will fall behind." A voice shouted from the crowd. "He has been changed." Brainwashed by the test, others joined in. Traitor, liar, unworthy. Zorak tried to speak again. "I only want peace." But no one listened. That night, he stood alone on a cliff, looking at the burning sky. He had passed the test, but now he was not welcome here. He whispered into the wind, "I am not who I was, and maybe my people are not ready for what I have become." Then, far in the stars, something called to him, Earth. And this time he would go, not as a visitor, but as a protector. Earth was not ready. Zorak had thought humans would be proud of what he knew, that they would welcome him, but when he landed in secret and sent a message to their leaders, the response was not joy, it was anger. A human commander stood on a global broadcast and shouted, "We never asked for this test. Who gave aliens the right to judge us?" People across Earth agreed. They felt insulted, betrayed. The Galactic Council had been watching them, testing others to see if they were worthy of contact. One scientist said, "We are not animals in a zoo. We don't need permission to exist." Then came the worst part. Someone hacked into the test system. All records were deleted. The voice inside the chamber, the one that guided every alien, was silenced, and someone made a new plan. Not peace, not understanding, but revenge. Back on Varnos, war drums beat louder than ever. Aliens who failed the test began to rise up. They called themselves the Purebloods, those who refused to change. They wanted Earth gone. And now they had help from a human. A man named Dr. Elias Ward, once a peace researcher, now filled with rage. He stood before the Pureblood army and said, "You wanted to test us, to change you." He smiled coldly. "Now we'll test you by fire, by war, by extinction." Zorak watched from the shadows. His mission had been peace. But now, war was coming. Zorak ran. Through the burning streets of Varnos, past fallen ships and broken towers, he moved fast, not to escape death, but to stop it. The Purebloods had taken control. With Dr. Elias Ward's help, they now built weapons. Unlike any before, machines powered by stolen human tech. Weapons meant for Earth, Zorak reached the hidden teleport gate. He had one chance, one way to reach Earth before the attack began. He typed in the final code. The gate hummed to life. Behind him, footsteps echoed. A voice called out, "Zorak, you cannot stop this." He turned. It was General Krelax, the same alien who had failed the test. Now, he wore armor black as space itself. Krelax growled, "You were weak. You let them change you." Zorak looked at his old friend. "No, not a friend anymore. I did not let them," Zorak said. "I chose to understand." Krelax raised his weapon. "Then you are no longer one of us." Zorak stepped back toward the glowing gate. "I know," he whispered. Then, without looking back, he jumped. Light swallowed him. When he opened his eyes, he stood on Earth. Not as an invader, not as a student, as a warning. He fell to his knees and shouted into the sky, "They are coming, and unless you stop them, your world will burn." Above him, storm clouds gathered. The war had begun, and Zorak was the only thing standing between Earth and destruction. Zorak stood in the ruins of what was once a peaceful Earth city. Smoke rose from broken towers. The sky was dark with warships, not just alien, but human-made as well. The battle had begun, but something was wrong. Zorak searched through the chaos. He needed to find Dr. Elias Ward, the man who had betrayed peace and helped the pure bloods build their weapons. He found him in a hidden base beneath the city. Ward stood before a glowing machine, tall, humming ancient Zorak. Stepped forward. "You don't have to do this." Ward didn't look at him. "Don't I?" Zorak said. "You think you're punishing them for judging us, but you've become the same." Ward finally turned. His eyes were tired, angry. They tested them. He said, "Why shouldn't we test you?" Zorak shook his head. "This is not testing. This is war." Then Ward smiled. "You still don't get it, do you?" he said. "The test wasn't made by the Galactic Council." Zorak froze. Ward walked to the machine and pressed a button. Words appeared on the screen. Project Empathy created by Earth AI. Zorak's breath caught. "No," he whispered. Ward laughed. "Yes, we built the test, long ago, to change aliens, to make them feel like us, to stop war before it starts." Zorak stared at the screen. All this time, he thought he was being judged, but really, he was being made into something new, something better. And now, someone had broken that plan. Zorak looked at Ward. "We can fix this," he said. Ward asked, "How?" Zorak stepped forward. by starting over. He placed his hand on the machine, and behind him, a new message lit up. New subject detected. Test starting. This time, it was for humans.